Good afternoon and welcome to this session which we are co-organising with the CTCN, and I am very pleased to welcome both Tomoo Machiba, who is the Deputy Director of the CTCN, and his colleague Sambit Nayak, who will be with us during this session. This session is specifically trying to focus on the implementation of biogas solutions in less economically developed countries, how we are facing those technological and financial challenges. And we will be, welcome Jamie, we will be looking at examples from Latin America, from Brazil, from China, and South Africa. And I hope that Basar will be joining us also to talk to us about implementation of technologies in Turkey as well. So we are all here apart from Basar from Turkey. And so Tomoo, I'd be delighted, please, to pass the microphone to you for you to welcome the guests and talk about CTCN. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David, and I really appreciate, and my name is Tomoo Machiba, and Deputy Director of Climate Technology Center Network, part of United Nations. We are based in Copenhagen, Denmark, and so hello from the Copenhagen to everywhere and around the world. And we really appreciate David and also World Biogas Association as a great partner for us. And also having a great opportunity for our network members and national designated entities and to get very deep insight on biogas technologies. And so really appreciate these opportunities. So next 5 minutes, let me introduce about CTCN, then handing over to the all 5 speakers. Yes. CTCN is part of UNFCCC. This is, you may know the COP. It's all the negotiation about climate change. And we have 2 different mechanisms. One is about financial mechanism. You may have heard about Green Climate Fund. This is a mechanism to provide financial support for developing countries to tackle with climate challenges. And we are part of the technology mechanism, which is providing the technology solutions to developing countries, and through the national focal point, it's called a national designated entity called the NDEs. Then we work with over 600 network members. So our mandate is basically support the development, transfer, deployment, and dissemination of climate technology to developing countries. And our center is co-hosted by the UNEP and the UNIDO, 2 union agencies. So climate solutions we work on the quite diverse range of the technology areas. So both mitigation and adaptations. So not only energy field, but also agriculture, forestry, and the industry efficiency, and the waste management, or even health and the early warning system, and coastal zone management, and so on and so forth. We provide technical assistance, that main services, but also we do knowledge sharing and the collaboration and network services too. So about technical assistance, you might be quite interested. It's how these things work. And basically, we are based on demand-driven mechanism. So all the requests have to come from the developing countries. So whoever wish to have kind of solution for particular climate challenges, they contact national designated entity of their own country, and mostly located in the Ministry of Environment or Ministry of Energy. Then once they receive the request, then NDE screen and based on the national priorities, then if they are happy and they submit the request to the CTCN Secretariat. Then our Secretariat basically screening the request, then developing the so-called response plan, terms of reference for doing this project. Then we are going for the UN bidding process. And for this process, it's basically over 600 our network members can join the bidding process. Then one of the winning bidders can implement this project. Then project scale is around up to $250,000. So it's not a big scale, but also quite enough to start up the implementing the particular technology. So this is a type of request and providing assistance we provide. And the biggest request is coming from the more decision-making information provisions. The next one is more feasibility studies. And then thirdly, what kind of technology is the most relevant for the particular countries. So we do have kind of supporting pretty technology-oriented support, but also we do more like a policy framework and also foundation to be able to disseminate the climate technologies in the country. So this is a type of expertise among the network members who provides. So some of them it's quite technology-driven expertise they have, but others it's more like a focus on capacity building and knowledge management. So we have a few projects on biogas, and this is an example from Ecuador recently completed. And Jamie is actually introducing this project more in detail later, and worked on kind of Spanish and Ecuador implementers, and established the baseline to use of biodigesters in the country. They're analyzing the experience from the different country in the region. Then the kind of technological assistance on analysis on this technology and the fitting into the Ecuadorian context and the different part of the countries. Another project going on in Tonga in Pacific Islands. And this is quite big scale, industrial scale, 0.5 megawatt biogas factory, and we are looking into the feasibility of such like a relatively big scale of biogas generation could be possible. And this is our network members from Germany is working on right now. And firstly doing the how much resources available, then baseline analysis, then more like how to create a value chain of bioeconomy in the country. Then eventually we developed the GCF, Green Climate Fund proposal, and so that they get more actual, the bigger money for the implementation. So as a biomass, bioeconomy areas, and we have several projects, and not necessarily biogas, but Vietnam, it's like we investigated what kind of usage of the biomass can be the most appropriate for the country, and biomass here means rice husk, and mostly like actually the biogas generation wasn't selected for the primary purpose, and other kind of making the briquettes and or just the drying, it could be the most appropriate for this context. Also, we are trying to work on Central Africa and using the forest biomass, and can be utilized for the combined heat and power. And the other project is more like a briquette and charcoal making and compost making and so on and so forth. So basically, the role of CTCN, we consider kind of early stage of technology deployment. So we provide demonstration support, policy support, needs assessment, and feasibility studies, and relating to this capacity building and knowledge management. But once going through our support, then can be like a scaled up, utilizing the bilateral donor monies, and also like a Green Climate Fund, multilateral development bank, and even private sector investors' money. So we are closely working with this financial mechanism of UNFCCC, Green Climate Fund, also Global Environment Facility, Adaptation Fund, and most recently NDC partnership. So finally, like we are having lots of audience today. So I want to call for like your support and how you can be involved in opportunity and to deploy the biogas technology in developing countries through CTCN support. So first, kind of, for the moment, it's a lot of requests coming on biomass usage, but not necessarily leading to the biogas usage. So how to make a linkage with how biogas technology could be applicable and in a different context. So it's really in-depth understanding of what kind of input materials they have, how to create a value chains, and the locations and how much cost is involved. Such in-depth knowledge is quite important, and your industry insight is quite appreciated. But also, like in different country, you want to try your own technologies, and you might contact the national designated entity, and they have a list on UNFCCC website. So it's kind of helping those countries creating the request to the CTCN and from your side. And to do this type of actions, we appreciate you becoming our network members, which is free of charge, and you have to submit just application form to us. There are already quite a number of WBA members. It's a part of our network. But if you haven't been, our part of network, it's like welcome to become our CTCN family. So thank you very much. Hand over to David.
Thank you very much, Tomoo. And I really do encourage you all, ladies and gentlemen, if you are interested in participating in the CTCN network, to join. I know that some of our members, as Tomoo said, have done so. And this gives us all the chance to exchange our knowledge and our experience, and for our members also to participate in the tenders, which the calls for grants which the CTCN regularly issue. Thank you, Tomoo, for that introduction. Now, I know you have to go because you have a board meeting today, and you will be substituted very ably by Sambit Nayak, who will be with us during this session and can answer questions on CTCN later on when we go into a panel discussion. Thank you, and I hope to see you again.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
Very soon. Thank you. Sambit, is there anything you wish to say now, or are you good to go through to the panel discussion at the end?
Yeah, we're good to go forward, and then if there will be any question along the line, then I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Now, apart from one speaker, everybody is with us, and my first speaker today is Chris Maloney from Eisenman. Eisenman is a long-established WBA member, and Eisenman is an international operator in the biogas sector. Now, I know Chris has a very busy agenda this morning, and thank you for joining us so early this morning, Chris, for you at 6 o'clock. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions for Chris Maloney after his presentation, please make them immediately so that we can then release him for his very busy day. Chris, you're going to talk about China. The floor is yours.
Very good. I trust that everybody can see the screen.
Not yet, Chris. We can't see the screen yet.
Okay.
We can see you.
Give it a second.
There's always a button that one forgets to push. It worked before. There you go.
Is it working now?
No, not quite. There you go. Now it's working. Got you.
Excellent. Excellent. Let me do this. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you, David. It's a pleasure to be with everyone this morning and my colleagues. My name is Chris Maloney. I'm a 35-year veteran of the energy, water, waste, and renewable sectors. I currently serve as the global head of Eisenman's organic diversion business in Chicago. I'm also the president of the Integrated Biogas Alliance and a council member of the World Biogas Association. As many of you know, Eisenman is one of the world's leading anaerobic digestion technology companies. We have our high solids plug flow digestion technology in 100 biogas plants around the world, including our flagship project, the CRNR facility in California, which many of you know. We are at our core technology innovators and systems integrators, but equally important, we pride ourselves being a trusted partner and a problem solver for our clients. As I mentioned, I also run the Integrated Biogas Alliance, which is a fully integrated organic waste to renewable energy platform solution that de-risks biogas projects for investors and builders. And again, just a quick thank you, not only to David, but to Charlotte and the exceptional team that they have for inviting me to speak again this year. This time on the topic of China, which may seem a little strange, a Yank speaking about China. I do have some experience there, and hopefully this will be informative. So let's start with a few slides, providing some orders of magnitude and hopefully some context. China, the U.S., and India, it is expected will account for 2/3 of all renewables, including biogas, into the next decade, with China leading the pack. Although I will say, for reference, in 2019, the U.S. accounted for almost 1.8 billion of the 4.3 billion invested in our industry. Just a quick snapshot here to really take it macro. I'm not going to labor all this. You can certainly read it for yourselves, but it's interesting to note, and things have changed obviously with COVID, as it has changed for all of us around the world. But last year, their electricity growth rate was at 6%. Their renewables capacity was 728 gigawatts. 38% of the capacity was represented by renewables. And finally, and I've got a picture of this in just a bit, 35 million rural farmers already have biogas systems. So again, a few more slides with order of magnitude graphics. This is China's natural gas consumption. This only goes to 2017, but the point here is pretty clear. The trend is up. But the other point on this slide is the actual in-country production, and obviously it falls short of the growing consumption, which is one of the reasons for the energy revolution, as they're calling it in China, and the need to really pursue a renewable natural gas strategy. And then this is the counter, the other side of the coin, I should say, to that in terms of the imports and the plan by President Xi to reduce natural gas imports. So coming back to waste, I thought I would share this slide. It's interesting, those of you that are on the waste management side, either directly or tangentially, know what happened in 2017, 2018, when the country declared a full stop on imports. And again, I won't read the volumes here, but coming from Oceania and Southeast Asia, from Europe and from the States, that waste was coming into China in large numbers. So there are two significant imperatives in China. And the first one is what I've called ag straw. It's manure too, but it's primarily ag straw. China, like many countries, has had for many, many decades, centuries, has been burning post-harvest straw to clear the fields. And while there are some advantages to the residuals, it has created a real problem for a long, long time. If you look at the agricultural regions of northern China, where these pictures were taken from, the life expectancy is in some cases a decade less than what you would find in cities to the south. You know, the children going to school, you can see the picture here. The man on the bicycle. I mean, this is a way of life every late fall for those in the northern provinces. The second is the food and kitchen waste, as they call it. And those of you that have been to China know just the volume of food that is put on the tables at some of these dinners. You know, it's estimated that well over 50, in some cases 60%. Of the volume of waste generated in all of China is organic food waste, which is just staggering. So these are the two imperatives that are driving the feedstock aspect of the biogas business, and I'll speak to them a little bit later. So this is the picture of the three pictures of farmers in different parts of China that are utilizing biogas capture and heating systems for cooking, etc. It's really staggering when you think about 35 million of these spread around the country, and a fair amount of innovation by some of these local farmers. I added this slide because it really became the tipping point for China back in 2016 when President Xi hosted the 14th session of the Central Finance Group on rural pollution, and this goes back to my slide on the burning of post-harvest straw. And I'll just read this. He stated, "We should take biogas and biomethane gas as the main treatment direction and take the rural energy and agricultural organic fertilizers as the main utilization and solve the problem of waste treatment and recycling of large-scale livestock and poultry farms during the 13th five-year plan period." And they are now at the end of that 13th five-year and headed into their 14th planning session. So this is this really was the tipping point. And again, shortly after that, the import of waste stopped. One of the main directions was the need to develop large-scale projects. You know, obviously with 35 million small biogas plants, it wasn't making a dent. And if they really were going to, and you can see that on the slide here, if they really were going to start to reduce the pollution caused by the burning of straw, if they were going to improve their energy independence and security and reduce the amount of imports, and finally the idea of improving the quality of the cropland, which is the utilization aspect of President Xi's comment. This is just a picture of the commission that is developing the five-year plan. It may in fact already be in place, but it is for 2021 through 2025. Obviously now being modified because of the impact of COVID. This is a component of the 13th five-year plan. It's the Rural Biogas Plan. I thought I would share this. It's quite telling. In the original plan called for 172 new projects. The new plan called for 3,150. And with a total investment of 50 billion RMB, so roughly 7.6 billion total investment. And again, this is just a subset, the rural biogas plan. This slide shows the total estimated feedstock resource potential. In the aggregate, this is close to 5 billion tons of organic waste per year. And you can see the CDR, the comprehensive disposal rate, as of, I think this was a 2018 or 2019 metric. But the 5 billion tons of waste generated has the potential to produce 200 billion, with a B, cubic meters of biogas if properly harnessed. Also wanted to share this example. This is actually one of our strategic partners, China General Nuclear in Shenzhen, the largest developer operator of nuclear power in China. And now with their current strategy, one of the leaders in pursuing renewable natural gas. Their ultimate plan is to deploy 1,000 biogas plants across China, generating 7 billion cubic meters. It is certainly ambitious and aspirational. And then as it relates to China General Nuclear, I thought I would share one of the projects that we have that we're pursuing in China. This one's actually under construction. It's jointly to be owned by CGN and Welly Environmental. We're providing our high solid split coat technology. This is a 900 ton per day project. The first 2 units will be installed in the spring. It is a combination wet and dry facility. And again, we've got a strategic cooperation agreement with them. Just a couple of slides to close and open it up for questions. I thought I'd share this. I thought you'd enjoy seeing some of the headlines as it relates to this topic. Again, you can read through these, but Xi declares war on food waste. China races to tighten its belt. China throws away enough food to feed 30 to 50 million people per year. That's a staggering amount of food. Food waste accounts for 50 to 70% of all China trash burden. Shanghai officials ask residents to report food wasting behaviors. And then finally, restaurant diners told to order 1 dish fewer than number of people. So I thought you might get a kick out of seeing some headlines. So I know that this has been a broad brush overview, but I thought I would keep it high level. Obviously, being an American and not a resident in China, there are a lot of nuances to this market, and certainly driven by the politics of Beijing. But China is definitely accelerating initiatives across the country, with both government and industry now prioritizing investments in upgrading infrastructure, the country's transmission and distribution networks, which will be critical to the success of this energy revolution, and certainly the growth of renewable natural gas and electricity. And there are also moves underway to improve the governance and efficiency of the state-owned enterprises, which controls much of the sector, and also allowing more private investment in the sector. The severe pollution that I had talked about in many of China's cities has convinced many of its citizens, certainly the growing middle class, of the need for energy transformation. And a recent poll that I saw, I think it had 90% of Chinese consumers would be willing to pay up to 10% more for electricity if it comes from renewable sources. Interestingly, we also see Chinese utilities looking to overseas markets like Africa, South America, some countries in Asia, Latin America. Assets in foreign energy markets offer potential for growth for these Chinese power companies. They're developing large-scale energy storage projects across Europe. There's a number of mergers and acquisitions that are helping the SOEs, such as CGN, gain technology and even management capabilities that really start to position them as global players. And this is something that's been going on for a while, but it's in full force now. Certainly, the Chinese market is unique in its scope and scale. It's quite staggering when you consider the volumes. The state-dominated energy sector does realize that it needs to move towards a market-based economy if it's going to encourage innovation, efficiency, and the environmental improvements. And it's interesting too. The Clean Plate Initiative is also the other side of the coin, is something that President Xi promised back in 2016, which is to make China's skies blue again. And there's a extra credit if anyone can tell me what the English word is for the Mandarin expression. So thank you again for the opportunity to speak again, and I hope this has been informative. And I certainly welcome any questions that you all might have. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Although you say there are nuances in doing business in China, there are, of course, in every country. But doesn't the fact that there is this very straightforward, clear, top-down policy approach make doing business in a way easier? there is a direction and everyone will follow that direction. Whereas in other countries, for example, your own country, there are many different states with many different directions. Is doing business in China, therefore, in one sense, a simpler matter?
Actually, quite to the contrary. It's anything but. It's interesting because there are many private companies in China. Beijing is still Beijing. The central government still controls all. But certainly for the state-owned enterprises, it's different than for some of the privately held companies. Welly Environmental is a good example of that. They're on the Shanghai Exchange. And teaming up with a state-owned enterprise like CTCN to pursue this market. So it depends on the company, and quite frankly, it also depends on the individual. They won't tell you that publicly, and if any of my friends are on this call, I'm sure they would appreciate this. But there's an interesting kind of dichotomy going on between the previous generation and the current generation. I made the comment that the middle class is, they're gaining a voice, and the central government does its best to squash that, any dissent in that voice. But to the extent that they can, they're making demands for cleaner air. They're making demands regarding as it relates to renewables. It's got one of the fastest growth rates for solar of any country in the world now. But there really is a stark difference between the previous generation and the current generation in terms of how they view the influence of central government.
Sure, indeed, and the president's declaration just 2 weeks ago that China will be carbon neutral, I think, by 2060.
60, yeah.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, is of course a game changer. There is 1/5 of the world's population, and I think now the world's largest greenhouse gas emitter. Taking those measures in the next 40 years, we'll see an extraordinary boom in all these technologies.
I think the other thing that's really key, and we found this in our relationships, is there have been many biogas plants that have been built, large scale biogas plants that have been built, and what they're finding is that the quality of those plants, the content, the technology content, the operations certainly of it, is really lacking. And so there is in our case, obviously we're a German based technology, and there's a real desire to get that technology into the country. Now, obviously, price notwithstanding, there's a real push in that direction. The other is that they see the innovations and what's going on in other parts of the world, and they want to bring that innovation in. So they're really kind of caught between kind of the paradigm of the past and wanting to be viewed as center stage regarding innovation. They want to have flagship projects that are showcases for renewable energy. So they're struggling a little bit with that balance.
Well, I think they're not alone, are they, Chris? This is the transition moment that the world is facing, and the next 10 years will be critical in ensuring that transition goes the right way for the future of humanity. Credit to the Chinese that they have taken that commitment. Chris, there was one question from a member of the audience. Being a North American United States company, is that impacting upon your ability to do business in China? You may not wish to answer that question, but it's my duty to ask it.
Well, I could take that. I could take that question and go in a number of different directions, including our current political environment and the impact on tariffs. But is it impacting it? We've had an office in Shanghai for a long time. We know how to do business there. We have Chinese nationals that are working this business there. But I would say in general, no. But we do have things like the current tariffs and other things to consider. But the strategic cooperation agreement that we have, for example, with the parties that I mentioned, I mean, they are. This is this relationship we hope will continue to grow. So, kind of a long-winded answer, but no, we're doing fine.
Thank you. Welcome, young lady from Turkey who is working with Basar. Could you please turn your screen off now, turn your video off, and we will call you on to speak shortly. Because you're taking the whole video, if you would turn your video off. Yeah.
I don't think she can hear you, David.
There she is. All right, good.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Good. Okay, Chris. Thank you very much for that, and wish you Godspeed for the rest of the day. I know you're very busy, and hope to see you again very soon.
Thank you, David. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Now, it's my pleasure now to welcome Alberto Borrello. Alberto is our member from the South African Biogas Association. Once again, we have Basar's screen on there. Take over the screen, please. Alberto is the General Secretary, I believe, of the Southern African Biogas Industries Association, and we'll be talking to us now about how biogas is developing in Southern Africa. Basar, if you can hear, you need to stop screen sharing, please, so that others can go onto the screen. Or Greville, can you please reduce him? I'm not sure where he is. Alberto, please go ahead.
Thank you, David, and thank you for the invitation to this important event. I will contribute from my side with a presentation about biogas opportunities and experiences from South Africa. I'm going to share my screen. Just please confirm that you can see my presentation.
Yes, we can see you perfectly. Thank you very much.
Great. Okay, so I am Alberto Borrello, originally from Italy. I'm living in South Africa from 2015. I am a director of a private company that is Fountain Green Energy. I am Secretary General of the Southern Africa Biogas Industry Association. And from 2020, I am also one of the council members of the World Biogas Association. So just a quick introduction about Sabia. Is an NPO, a non-profit organization that leads industry discussion with relevant governmental institutions, with the international organizations, NGOs, and other industries to promote the biogas sector in South Africa. And we assist our members in gain exposure. So I would like to present to you just a quick introduction about the energy situation in South Africa. The Department of Energy in 2019 has published the Integrated Resource Plan that described the path up to 2030, how the different source of energy will contribute to the electricity generation in South Africa. As you see, the current energy production is mainly from coal, that will still play an important role, unfortunately, up to 2030 and even more. But currently, the production of electricity from renewable sources is at 13%, and it will increase to up to 43% in 2030. South Africa is currently facing an energy crisis because the power generation capacity installed doesn't match the demand of electricity. That means that has been evaluated that there is a gap of 3,000 megawatts, and the Department of Energy is trying to address this problem as quick as possible. And during the lockdown in July 2020, they have published on a gazette a risk mitigation independent power producer procurement program with the aim to start commercial operation of plants at the end of June 2022. So they hope to receive a proposal to cover these 3,000 megawatt of energy cap. The reason of these urgencies is because currently ESCOM, that has the monopole of energy wheeling and distribution in the country, is implementing rolling blackouts or load shedding. That means that electrical power shutdown, the load shedding is an electric power shutdown in which electricity delivery is stopped for a period of time over different parts of the distribution region. There are different levels of load shedding from 1 to 6. But level 2 means that every time ESCOM shut down for 2 consecutive hours, one of the region of South Africa. And private and industry, they don't get electricity for 2 hours a day. This, of course, has a huge impact on the economics and the production, so that need to be addressed quickly. Unfortunately, the risk mitigation independent power producer procurement program projects are expected to be between 50 and 450 megawatt each. So there is no space and no possibility for biogas plants to fit into this initiative. But it's important in any case to share this situation and this initiative because there are very common parts and requirement in this initiative that are very common and need to be taken into consideration in any project development in South Africa. Some of the requirement is that the proposal must include a local content of 40%. That means that 40% of the capex must be procured locally. 30% of the total procurement need to be spent with broad-based Black economic empowerment business, so with local South African business owned by Black people, and that is a requirement by law. And specifically, they try to prioritize even female ownership and procurement from female-owned business to address non-completely balance between men and women-owned business. And 10% of the seller operational spend should be on enterprise development and socioeconomic aspects. That means that foreign companies that are willing to participate and tender and build plants in South Africa, they necessarily need to work with a local partner that can help and can support to match all these requirements. And this is not just for the risk mitigation independent power producer program, but for most of the public and private projects. So where are the good news for the biogas industry? At the beginning of this week, the Minister of Environment has indicated that government is likely to integrate green economy components in the country's COVID-19 economic recovery strategy. And this will include renewable energy, circular economy, and public employment program to rehabilitate ecosystems and ecosystem services as key areas of focus for government. In parallel to these, there are municipalities like the City of Cape Town that are implementing their own mini integrated resource plan that will allow them to buy electricity directly from independent power producer, mainly from renewable sources. And this is a very good news for the biogas industry because all the developers that have projects below 1 megawatt, they will certainly be able to sell electricity to the municipalities, and this is a very important aspect in the development and to finalize the business plan of these projects. And above these, the electricity regulation of new generation capacity is in the process of being amended to allow municipalities to develop and procure their own power generation, not only in the City of Cape Town, but in many other municipalities. So in this period of energy crisis, the Department of Mineral Resource and Energy has implemented a discussion platform, and the SABIA has taken part to this platform together with all the other associations from renewable energy, like the Wind Association, the PV Association, and so on. So there is an open table, an open platform where all the association are able to have an open discussion with the Department of Mineral Resource and Energy to advise them and to contribute to an update of the integrated resource plan. During the last 6 months, Sabia has implemented a study on the biogas potential in South Africa that has been presented during the last event in May at the World Biogas Association. But after that, we have implemented our study, and now we are going to present a more in-detail analysis of which are the main sectors that are currently produce a lot of waste where biogas developers or biogas suppliers can find and develop opportunities. So certainly the agricultural sector is one of the main producer of waste that are currently not used for the biogas industry. The dairy sector is certainly a big producer of waste, organic waste, as like the chicken sector. And then, of course, as per this table that we are sharing and presenting for the first time to the public, you can see what are the sectors where the developers are focusing mainly their attention. So if currently with the total waste produced in South Africa, the theoretical production of energy from biogas is about 10 gigawatt, we believe that in the next 5 years, at least 1 gigawatt can be feasible from an economic and technical point of view that will arrive to contribute to 12.2% to the theoretical biogas production in South Africa. So where are those opportunities in South Africa? Certainly related to municipalities that are implementing the banning of organic food waste entering into the landfill sites, and municipalities that are pursuing the right to buy electricity from independent power producer like Cape Town municipality. There are private industries and the food industries that are looking to become autosufficient to reduce the risk of not get electricity during the load shedding. And if you believe that an industry can be disconnected to the grid for 2 hours or maybe for more than once a day, so 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, you can imagine how big is the economic impact in production, for the production in an industry. So there are a lot of industries that are looking to develop their own waste to energy project to become autosufficient from that point of view, or at least reduce the risk of load shedding or to be disconnected when there is the load shedding. And then another very important sector that is not so common maybe in Europe, but is very popular, very big size of business in South Africa, are the microdigesters in rural areas, and most of these projects are supported by and financed by government. So what are the drivers that are considered in the development of biogas industrial size plants? Certainly the difficulty in procuring electricity from the national grid, the reuse of waste produced by food processing industries or by abattoirs like human blood that are considered hazardous waste with a very high fee to dispose them into a landfill. Another important driver is the reduction of greenhouse gas emission due to the introduction of the carbon tax from 2019, or due to voluntary policies and strategies adopted by international companies that have production plant here in South Africa. There are currently a couple of projects that have been published for tenders from two very big automotive industries that are willing to move into a waste-to-energy project to become autosufficient. There are some food processing industries that are commissioning an anaerobic digestion plant during this period, and some of these plants have been built by breweries, international breweries that are producing beer in South Africa. And another important driver is the non-availability of CO2 for industrial use in some of the regions of the country. The CO2 has a very high cost for transport, and this certainly is an important driver. So I would like to conclude my presentation with a case study for a big anaerobic digestion plant that has been developed for the production of biomethane and CO2. The construction has been completed. The plant is able to process around 500 tons per day of different kind of waste, municipal solid waste and pure organic waste. It has a material recovery facility and an anaerobic digestion process for the production, as I was saying, for biomethane and CO2. So what have been the challenges in the development, construction, commissioning and operation of this plant? Technology is available, but is that technology suitable for a developing country? There has been quite a lot of technological challenges that we have faced during the construction and the commissioning operation of this plant. Is the local industry ready for that technology? Doesn't mean that if something is working in another country, will certainly work also in a developing country. And the latest solution is not always the right solution. It is important to keep the projects and the technology simple, so it can be easily operated, can be easily implemented, and can be easily fixed in case of a problem. And this will reduce the dependency of spare parts from a time and cost point of view, especially in a condition like the COVID-19, where the international transport of material spare parts is extremely difficult. Another important aspect is that the technology must be flexible, the design must be flexible, especially in a country where legislation is evolving very quickly, like South Africa, that has implemented last year the ban of liquid into the landfill. So it's no more possible dispose liquid organic waste into the landfill. So that means that the anaerobic digestion plant can use organic, but they need to be ready to do that, and that can happen only if the technology is flexible. Other challenges that have been experienced are about the feedstock. You expect at the design commissioning stage a feedstock like this, and sometimes happen that you receive a feedstock like this, and we all know that it's not possible to produce biogas from plastic. So the recommendation that we always share with the foreign companies that are looking to develop projects in South Africa are the same that we are trying to share with the investors and banks in South Africa to create confidence into the sector. The main is that the biogas technology is proven. It works, has already been proven in so many other countries, and even if some of the projects in South Africa haven't been successful, it is a proven technology. And we need to create confidence and credibility to the investors. It is important to do not take shortcuts during the development stage, because every problem can be fixed during commissioning and operation. But what is the cost implication in the business plan if I need to spend more money at a later stage? And a very important recommendation to international companies that are looking to develop projects in South Africa is that technology supplier must guarantee a local presence beyond construction through local partnership. And the technology supplier is equally responsible together with the client to the success of the project. It is important to offer training, to transfer skills to the operation and maintenance team, because the reputation damage due to an unsuccessful project is for everyone, for the developer, for the technology supplier, and also for the whole biogas sector. So it is really important that development will be done properly, and also construction. So from my point of view, it is extremely fundamental to do one step at a time, to use the right technology, because it is important to move from these to these, following the right path. So this is a very quick presentation from South Africa. If you have any other question, or if you want to be part of our organization, you can write to me at secretary@sabia.org.za. And you can sign up to our monthly newsletter on our website, so you will receive a constant periodic update from South Africa. Thank you very much, and I think that we will open for Q&A.
Alberto, thank you very much for that very good panorama of what is going on in South Africa. And of course, the challenges that you are facing there are common to challenges all over the world. And I think what you, maybe I missed, but I think what you did not say was that the cost of energy the low cost of energy is one of the barriers, because energy, coal exploitation and fossil fuel energy is still subsidized by the government for low income, particularly to support low income families. And this is a problem which we have across the world. How can you make energy at market prices when fossil fuel energy is subsidized? The government presumably is, as it's part of its strategic plan, is looking on removing those subsidies.
So currently there is no discussion about removing the subsidies to the fossil fuel, and the integrated resource plan is still showing that fossil fuel will still play quite a big role up to 2030 in the power generation capacity of the country, as I've tried to simplify it as much as possible in this slide. You are completely right, David. The low cost of electricity, and I can talk about low cost of electricity in an international conference like this, because when I talk at a local level about low cost of electricity, people normally look at me very strange and say, no, electricity is too expensive in South Africa. That is one of our biggest problems. But unfortunately, compared to the cost of electricity or the generation in our countries, I can confirm that the price of electricity in South Africa is cheaper than most of the other countries in the world. This is why also I have added that slides trying to share what are the main drivers that can bring to a successful biogas project, that are quite different from the point of view of project developers in developed countries. So you need to really work and tune your business plan on costs to dispose, on saving from the non-disposal of hazardous waste that are coming from the food processing industry or abattoirs. There are other drivers like availability of electricity, because if you can't operate your production plant because of the load shedding, you are going to have a huge loss during the year. And you need to also consider that this is going to affect the GDP of the country. So it's certainly a reduction of the industries. And that is also another important driver that is pushing the development and investment in most of waste to energy with anaerobic digestion technology in the country.
Yes. I just one last point from me on that is that it is quite paradoxical that we are assuming that we apply a carbon tax, and yet we are still subsidizing fossil fuels. It is really quite strange. Anyway, Alberto, please remain with us for the panel and for the questions that will come in from people around the world for you over the next 15, 20 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure now to welcome Felipe Sousa Marques, who is from Brazil. And Felipe will give us an overview of the development of the biogas industry there in Brazil. Welcome, Felipe.
Hello. Can you see my presentation now?
Yes. Perfect.
Hello. I would like to first thank you for the invitation to participate in this panel. It's the second time Biogas talk on a WBA event, and it's always a pleasure and a lot of lessons learned in this event. And yesterday I saw a lot of good presentations, and I'm very glad to participate. I'll do a resume about how is the biogas market in Brazil, because Brazil is really big, and there is a lot of different biogas approaches in the country. So I'll do a resume about what is the situation now. Just for the start, who is CI Biogas? We are an institution of science, technology, and innovation, ICT, and we are in association format dedicated to the development of the biogas value chain. Our mission is to promote the sustainable development of the biogas and other renewable energies value chain. We are working with biogas for 14 years now. We run 23 R&D and innovation projects. We have 28 institutions and companies associated with CI Biogas. We already analyzed more than 135 different substrates to methane production, national substrates. We do a lot of technical advice for public and private companies, and until now we had more than 2,000 students from 27 countries in our online courses. Now we are focusing on development of R&D projects, especially on biogas upgrading for small scale, microgrids, sustainable mobility, market strategies, digestate, and knowledge transfer. The biogas in Brazil, now we have 521 running biogas plants in the country. We produce 1 billion and 300,000 billions of cubic meters of biogas every year. And in the last 3 years, we have a growth rate year by year of 31% in number of biogas plants. We have a biogas map in the country. We identify all the biogas plants that are running and biogas plants that are being constructed, and we identify it, and we classified for the kind of substrates, biogas application, and size of the plant. And we have numbers from 2003 until now. And in the last 5 to 7 years, the biogas plants and biogas production increased a lot. We can see that in 2015, the biogas production was very, very big. That's why, that's because big size biogas plants started to run in 2015. And there is one important thing about the size of the plants in Brazil. The majority of the plants, it's in small size. 77% of the biogas plants is small, and it produces only 7% of the biogas production on the country. And the big size plants, we have only 7% of the biogas plants, but 81% of the biogas production. So when the big size biogas plants started to run, we increased a lot the biogas production in the country. That happened from 2015 until now. The majority of the biogas application in the country, it's for electricity. 397, almost 400 biogas plants runs to generate electricity. 55% of them for thermal applications, 6 of them to biomethane, and 3 of them to mechanical applications. Where in mechanical applications, I mean use of the biogas directly in pumps to spread the digestate in the field. I suggest you to visit the map biogas.cbiogas.org, where you can find the biogas map of the country. There is all the information and a BI available for you, and you can also download the informations. Here I'll zoom to the south region of the country. Brazil, it's a very big country. The south region, it's the size of the Spain. It's a really big region. And there is an important aspect on the south region that I would like to share with you. 86% of the biogas production, potential production, is in farms. It's on cattle, swine, and chickens, so poultry farms. So that means that the majority of the biogas potential in the south of the country on agro industry is in small or medium-sized biogas plants. There is a big demand on safe solutions to produce biogas in small scale, not in really small scale, but in a 5,000, 3,000 pig farms scale. That's what I mean as a small farm. And why do you think that we are in a good moment for biogas and biomethane in Brazil? Not more than 30 days ago, the ANEEL, that's the National Agency for Electricity, authorized one state electricity company. The company is called Copel. That's the state company for Paraná state, to buy electricity from small producers and microgrids. They can buy electricity from distributed biogas plants. Until now, they couldn't do it. They couldn't buy the electricity. The biogas, the electricity producer, he produced more electricity than his needs, and the amount that he produces and does not consume, he can use it for future in the future consumption, not sell it, but now he can sell it. And we can see in this graph that from 2015 until now, the number of biogas plants to electricity on grid increased a lot. We think that until 2022, we will have more biogas plants for electricity on grid than off grid. And in this map I show you, it's the Paraná state. Paraná state in red, it's the municipalities that have a problem on quality of electricity delivery. What is the indicator here? It's the number of times they don't have electricity, and the time schedule, the durations of every time that he gets no electricity. So there is a lot of opportunities to the company to buy electricity in the distributed form to solve local problems. That's really, really a characteristic that fits biogas. I'll show you here an example. This is São Pedro Colombari farm that it's a really known farm in the country. The distributed generation in the country started here. And now we have a project of a microgrid in the same farm. When the state company fails to deliver electricity for him and for neighbors, he assumes the electricity generation and delivery, and it's really game changing for the electricity delivery on the countryside. But today he can produce 50 megawatts each month, but now he generates only 32 because he don't needs the other 18. But now, as he can sell it, he can gain approximately 65,000 reais for each year. So it's really good for his business. We also have also in the last 30 days private calls for biomethane. We had in the October 1st a webinar where a private company announced a private call for 5 millions of cubic meter of biomethane every day. They want to buy it every day, 5 millions of biomethane. And what's the key aspects on the approach like this to biomethane applications? In Brazil, a big size country, we lack of gas pipelines. In the map here, you can see that we only have gas pipelines on the seaside, but in the countryside there is no gas pipelines. So we don't have gas applications on the countryside, but in the countryside it's where we produce a lot of the products from agro-industry. The agro-industry runs on the countryside, and the agro-industry depends on heavy trucks to get the production on the seaside, so it can be exported. And the liquid, the bio LNG, is really game changing in the country, because we can transport the liquefied gas for big distance and it's still feasible. And also in this private calls, we have a long-term contract that it's better for the investors to feel more comfortable in their investments. So what am I talking about when I talk about heavy trucks applications, the countryside applications, and liquefied gas? Today, the truck can come from the seaside with natural gas, but he cannot go from the countryside to the seaside with natural gas because he doesn't have it. The biomethane can do it. If we make available the biomethane in the countryside, all the trucks that delivers for the agro industry can run on gas, and then we will avoid the use. We will avoid the use of diesel. The amount of biogas that we can produce in the country it's compared of 70% of the diesel consumption. So it's a lot of it's a really big opportunity. Also, we have now a JEF project running in the country that's called Biogas Brazil. It's biogas applications on agro-industry. The Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, it's the leader of the project. The UNIDO, it's the agency that implements the project here. And CI Biogas is one of the executors. And there is a key aspect in this project that we have the Ministry for Environment, the Ministry for Energy, the Ministry for Agriculture, the Ministry for Science, Technology and Innovation. And also we have Itaipu Dam here. Itaipu, it's the company that had more investment to develop biogas in the country in business models until now, especially on the west of Paraná. And in this project, the objective is to reduce greenhouse gases emissions and dependence on fossil fuels by promoting biogas energy and mobility solutions within the agro-industrial supply chains in southern Brazil by strengthening the national value chain of biogas technology. So we focus here in capacity building, information and guidelines, regulatory improvements, technology transfer, and business strategies. Here in technology transfer, there is a lot of opportunities to talk with foreigners, companies, and technology institutions, so we can do technology transfer and establish some partnerships from foreigners companies with national companies. The benefits of this project is to have public policies, regulations and instruments to foster the value chain, update technical and market information consolidated and available to investors, value chain development strengthened, new companies established, standardized technologies and consolidated market strategies, knowledge and skills to develop, technical and economic feasibility evaluated and demonstrated, and national and regional governance activated. When I talked about the capacity building, we have running in the country now a free online course connected. It's a CI Biogas course connected with the JEF project. We had our goal was to enroll 1,000 students and certify 400. We have until now 4,300 enrolled students and more than 1,200 students certified until now. This shows that the country is really looking to establish, to increase competitiveness using biogas and biomethane applications. And not only from Brazil, we have students for all the states of the country, of Brazil, and from different 15 different countries. And the course today, it's only in Portuguese. I think this is my last slide. In the country now, my final message, in the country, we do a lot, but only 1.5% of the biogas is used. The estimated potential biogas is used now in the country. We have a 98.5% of the biogas potential not used. And there is one thing that we like to talk about it with, that we have an estimated potential. A part of it, it's technically possible. A part of the technically possible is financially viable, feasible. And a part of it, it's now linked with a good business model. So the effort we have to do here is to promote and to develop new business model and strategies, and to lower costs and taxes to improve the financially feasible part, and develop technically and transfer technology to use more of our estimated potential. Thank you for your patience, and feel free to contact me.
Felipe, thank you very much. That's a really good overview, and it's very encouraging to hear the development which is going on in Brazil. And of course, Brazil has sometimes international criticism because of what is happening in the north with the forest. But we forget that Brazil actually is a country where the energy supply is more or less, especially electricity, is more or less completely 100% renewable, because of course you have vast resources of hydroelectric power, and your fuel supply is also very high percentage of renewable fuels, because of course you use sugarcane residuals for sugarcane for producing, for example, vehicle fuel. So Brazil has been on the road of renewable energy and for many, many decades, and is a world leader. And I'm looking forward to reading in a few years' time that you will be a world leader in biogas as well. I'm very impressed by the amount of training you're doing. One of the messages which our association is trying to get across is the need for creating a whole new generation of young people who are able to implement these technologies and understand them. If we're going to build thousands and thousands of biogas plants, we actually need people to run them. So my call for you would be to talk to my colleagues here at the WBA and with the other associations about how we can create some training programs together, not just in Portuguese, but also in other languages.
I'll be happy to talk with them and to deliver a course, online course in English, Spanish, and a lot in French. It will be for us, the capacity building. It's the first step, so we can improve quality of projects, quality of the results of running biogas plants. So it's the base.
Yes, and the other thing which is important, and I think this also for Alberto and for Bashar, who is coming on now, is that we do not allow the economics to dictate the quality. We must make sure that the quality dictates the economics, because everybody will try to drive down the costs, but we must ensure that the costs are sufficient to cover the highest possible quality. Otherwise, we do more harm to the environment than we are doing good.
Yes, it's not. We talk a lot of here. It's not to put it to run. It's to deliver it and still deliver it for still delivering for a long term. So that's the case. If you avoid too many costs on the implementing of the biogas plant, in a few years you will understand that that's the wrong way to do it.
Exactly. Thank you again, Philippe. Please remain for questions at the end of the panel. My great pleasure now to move from Brazil to Turkey and to introduce our friend and member Bashar. And Bashar I met at the Biogas Summit in July in 2019. And he told me that he's building all these biogas plants in Turkey. And this was, for me, big news, because I didn't know that there was such a dynamic operator in Turkey and such a dynamic businessman building all these plants there. And so I think, Bashar, your example is a really good example of how you can harvest, in this case, cow manure and other animal wastes to produce green energy. So tell us how you've done it, and the floor is now yours. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for your nice compliments. I am also very proud of being member of World Biogas Association, and I am representing my country and company here in Turkey. We are, I think, quite young company to be the market leader, but now we are market leaders in biogas in Turkey. And again, I would like to tell you in my slide that what we have done so far and what is our business model in Turkey, and how we can make it happen in other countries. If you can go other slide. I'm going to talk about my company profile and what is the biogas market in Turkey like, and what is our business model and what we have done so far, and our case studies and success stories. If you can go one more slide, please. So first of all, I would like to talk about the Turkish biogas market in total. It includes the waste, the biomass, and biogas. If you look at the numbers, we have around 1,000 megawatt licensed project in Turkey, but most of them belongs to waste market. So we mainly produce our electricity from the waste management facilities. Secondly, the second part is biomass. So we do from the wood chips and other facilities. This is the second biggest market in Turkey. And thirdly, the biogas comes to the table. We have around 170 megawatt in total, if you look at the biogas, and around 45 facilities running all around the Turkey. It's a quite small number. If you can see, it is nearly below 1% of the Turkish total capacity. What were the hurdles and why we are not growth so far? I will explain about that. And if you look at the total capacity of biomass and the biogas market in Turkey, it is around 3.5 megawatt. I'm sorry, 3.5% of the total renewable installed capacity. We have now government initiative, and it is going to end. It was going to end in this year, but because of the pandemic, it is now extended for 6 months more. So it's going to end of June. And for 1 megawatt, for megawatt hours, the government is giving us $133 US, which is quite a good number. That's why in these 3 years' time, our market became a bit bigger than before. Do you mind if you go to the other slide? Yes. So our company is not an EPC company, but it is behaving like an EPC. I will tell you what I'm telling you in next slide. But we are an engineering company, and we have over 100 engineers working with us. And with our all plants in SPVs, we are around 300 people now. And we are, as I told you before, we are the leading company in Turkey, which controls around 30% of the market. So far we completed 7 biogas plants, and they are all belongs to our investment. So we don't do EPC, we just construct our own biogas plants. And now we have 8 ongoing biogas power plants, which is equivalent to 30 megawatt power. And our vision, we always use top quality, we always work with the top quality firms, and we are buying from the Europe, from the all around the world for our equipments. And we are also trying to be cost efficient to be able to compete with the market and to penetrate the market more easily. And of course, we are doing some tailor-made EPC jobs as well, rather than wet fermentation. We are also installing our first dry fermentation plant together with a Dutch company called WTT in Edirne. So we are also doing waste management from dry fermentation, and it will be the first in Turkey. And of course, our mission will be we also became the market leader in Turkey, and we are now opened our Russia office, Dubai office, and Netherlands office, and closely we are going to plan to open our US office. So we like to sample our Turkish cases to the world, and we are also very happy to be a the member of World Biogas Association. It is giving us a chance to be able to extend our business to the world. Can we go one more slide, please? So our business model is unique. It is not like others. So as I told you before, we are not an EPC company, and I think it is making us different from other business models. We are a DBOM company. What I'm trying to say, we never give our main EPC work to other companies. That's why we are accommodating around 100 engineers with us, just because of we want to do everything in our own house. So we design our own plants, and then we build them in our own team. We are also operating our plants, and we are also maintaining the plants. As I told you before, in Turkey market, the biogas haven't grown successfully before, because the investors gave the EPC work to other companies. And as you know, biogas is not an easy business like wind and solar games. So they had some hurdles, and the plants couldn't run easily and smoothly. That's why we didn't want to do the EPC, and we wanted to control the operation as well. And then we became successful in our case, and we partnered with the farmers. This is the most important case. We partnered with the raw material owners, especially farmers and some other raw material owners, chicken farms, cow farms, and then they became our partners in every project. We had some different partnerships, and then that's why we became successful in our business model. Can we go one more slide, please? So, as I told you, what we create is like the useful, affordable, and reliable business. So we want the anaerobic digestion is not the easy game for other renewable projects. So we wanted to create a good, affordable, and reliable team for us. And we have also our own academy that we are training our own personnel for our plants, and we are partnering with some universities, institutions to make our team bigger. So we don't like to get from outside. We want to get our team from our own resources. This is also what we are trying to achieve. And by 2021, we are reaching 50 megawatt by only one company, which is also a big number for the world, but it's a very, very big number for the Turkish market. So that's why we are trying to do something different and trying to get create some value for our world and for our country as well. Can we go one more slide, please? So this is how we became the market leader. As I told you, we are a quite young company. We are just 4 years old, and we started our first construction at the end of 2017. And in our first year, we increased 13.5 megawatts. And the following year, we became 20 megawatts. And now we are 37.5 megawatts, and I think we are one of the only company that is constructing more than 5 plants at the same time above 1 megawatt. So all our plants is above 1 megawatt capacity. Would you please go one more? Can you go one more slide, please? So these are the plants that we are running so far. This is the Turkish map. Maybe, if there is no pandemic, I would like you to accommodate you in our lovely sunny country. So we are now active. These plants are active and working around over 75% efficiency. And Konya is our biggest plant, which has 12 megawatt capacity. And the first phase of 6 megawatt is under operation. And next to our Konya biogas plant, we are now constructing 60,000 tons yearly capacity of fertilizer factory. And also in our other cities, we are running biogas factories between 1.5 to 6 megawatts. And we have, as I told you, in Edirne projects, we are trying to do dry fermentation from waste. And in Burdur, we have also a very unique project. We did waste in one place and animal waste in another place. So it's the first hybrid biogas plant in Turkey. So it is both using organic waste and organic chicken and cow raw material at the same plant, and also there is landfill at the same site. This is also a very unique project of ours. So if you go one more slide, I would like to tell you what is under construction. As you can see, these are the projects under construction now, and some of them is going to finish in this month because we have a commissioning timeline in this month, and some of them is going to finish in before the new year, and some of them, many of them actually, is going to finish before the end of June. So at the end of the initiative period, we would like to reach the number of 17 or maybe 18 power plants, biogas power plants in Turkey under one company. Would you please go one? So as I told you, this is a just 3 years company, and this, I think this shows the biogas industry that what can be done so far if you are really good in your job. And as I told you, we are not only trying to do it in Turkey, we are also like to extend our investments. As I told you, we are an investment firm as well, all around the world. And I have listened many of my friends, colleagues in South Africa, in Brazil, in Europe, and some other countries. We also really like to get connected under the umbrella of World Biogas Association, and we would like to extend our know-how and our investments to these countries as well. Would you please go one more slide? So also, this is another game of ours. So what we like to do so far, we want to extend our business not only producing electricity. As I told you, we don't, in our government initiative, they don't let us to produce biomethane or LNG. It's a government rule that we can only produce electricity. So we are just focused on electricity. That's the point. And the other point is that's why we, to be able to create some other benefits for our biogas plants, we are also planning to construct fertilizers, especially organic and organic mineral fertilizers next to our plants. And also, moreover, we would like to also implement greenhouses next to our power plants, as we don't need to use heat from other sources, as we already have from our gas engines. Can we go one more slide? So, as I told you, these are one of our references. The pictures would be a bit, it should be renewed. They are not recent. So, as you told, we are doing like a Lego. All our plants are like the same of each other. That's giving us an advantage to use the same equipment, the same maintenance. It is really reducing our maintenance costs, because my maintenance team knows about how to control the maintenance with the same equipment and the same product. So we usually use same gas engines, same membranes, same stuff all the time. If we go one more slide, please. So also, as I told you, this is one of the biggest of ours. It is 6 megawatt per hour, and it is around 42 million megawatt hours electricity a year, and nearly more than 26 million metric cube of biogas production. And we nearly invested around 45 million euros in that project. Can we go one more, please? So maybe you can show some quick review of Konya Biogas plant. It's a video, if we can open it. This is the video.
Yeah, I think, Bashar, that it is that technically with this platform we can't play videos.
I can share it, not a problem.
We can share the slide with the video link in it, but I think on the platform that we have, we're not able to play the video. I'm sorry for that.
On YouTube, so we can share if someone wants to see that. This is what I like to tell you. I am also, again, very proud to be part of WBA. And if you have any questions, I can answer that. Thank you so much for giving me that chance to talk about Turkish biogas market.
Thank you, Bashar. You've been very clear, very explicit, and I thank you for that. And one quick question from you. You have very good tariff support from the Turkish government at the moment. Is that due to continue? Will that continue in future years, or is there a level to it that will break?
Yeah, this is a very important question for us as well, because we have many things to do in that country. But the problem is, I think it's a very big initiative, as you can see, and they will continue the initiative, as we can read from their minds. But I don't think this will be the exact investment rate. So it will. I think the $132 will be reduced by 40 or 30%, as we expect after the year of 2022.
And are there other policies which you think that the Turkish government can introduce to support biogas in Turkey? For example, are you predicting that Turkey will start to collect bio-waste in cities from citizens, or is that not going to happen in the near future?
This is also one of our thinkings, how we can make it happen. But I think this is not on their hands now. But what I like to push my government is to also produce biomethane, because as you know, Turkey is not the gas owner country, and especially for the trucks, if we can, together with your words, if we can show them some examples that it is also can be used as the LNG, that would be the very good case, and we can still continue our investments by doing this. It is very critically important, and it's critically important also from your side to help us to show, like Brazil, like Europe, the LNG is a very good opportunity as well.
Yes, so when you have a market pull for the energy, then it's easier to actually to produce the gas. Yeah, yeah, and I think Philippe will be very interested in being in touch with you. Therefore, with the technology exchange.
I am very happy to touch with our members, and as we are in our last minutes for the investment, we are like working 18 hours a day because to finish our all projects at the same time. But I am quite sure that we can get some collaborations all together because our market is growing. Even in the pandemic time, we get bigger. So we haven't stopped our operations.
Compliments, Bashar, and thank you for being with us today. I know you're a very busy man. Thank you.
It was a great pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Please wait on the panel for last-minute questions. Now, last speaker of the Biogas Summit and the last speaker today in this session is Jamie from Bolivia, I believe, or Ecuador, from Red Biolac. Jamie has been with us also on the E-Summit, on the Biogas Festival, wasn't it, back in May, and talking to us about, in this case, I think, small-scale biogas in Latin America. Jamie, the floor is yours.
Okay, hello to everybody. I don't know if you are listening to me.
Yes, we can hear you, we can see your slide.
Okay, perfect. I was not sure. Hello to everybody. I am talking from the Amazonia in Ecuador. I work at the public university, ICAM. It's a small and new university here in the Amazonia. And I want to talk to you about more or less the biogas in Latin America. First of all, I want to talk to you about the Red Biolac. It's a biodigesters network here in Latin America. And later I will try to be shortly to talk about the technology that we have here in Latin America about biogas. So to talk about the Red Biolac, what is it? It's not a formal net. It's a net based in the trust. We are many people from different countries, but we are not legally formed in any country. We can work with the different members. So really it is like a space for the exchange of experience and knowledge around the biogas sector, how to implement, about the research, about the technology, and it's more like a team of friends that are freaky on biogas sector. And we are very focused on medium and small scale biogas sector, but when we talk about small scale, it's very different from one country to other country. For example, in Bolivia, Ecuador, and Peru, small scale means people who have 10 cows or who have 50 pigs. But if you go to Chile, small scale means, 300, 400 cows. So it's very different in each country, but usually we work with the smaller farmers. We are focused on nutrient recovery from the bioslurry, the local use of biogas. There are just a few experience with biogas producing electricity for the grid, and also to waste treatment of manure mainly. We work with agroecology point of view. We look for the technology, looking for all the people, also the poorest people and the small farmers. We like to share the knowledge of all the members, success and fails. We work with a collaboration from different members. We have people from the government, from the universities, from companies, users also. So we have all the sector of biogas represented in the network. We try to get some innovation, but trying to resolve real problems from small and medium users in the field. No? And we don't look for big numbers. We are not interested in big numbers just about installations. We are working on how many digesters are already working, no? Are being used. Here you can see some people who is working inside the Red Biolac. As I told you before, we have universities, companies, foundations, NGOs, and national biogas networks. This is like a small brothers of the Red Biolac, but just working inside a country. This is in Colombia, Ecuador, and Costa Rica, for example. The main tools that we use for the Red Biolacs is the mail list. We use a Google Groups mail. There are more than 1,000 users. Usually the language is Spanish, sometimes Portuguese. And the other tool is a yearly meeting. We began in 2009 in Peru. We were just a few people, but every year we have been realizing a meeting in different countries. Last year was in Cuba, and usually we have about 100 people coming to these meetings from all around Latin America and also rest of the world. This year we have been making a virtual meeting just during this week, and next year will be held in Peru, in Arequipa in Peru. We have the mail list, the yearly meetings, and also we will do a lot of work with publications to offer information to the Spanish speakers in Latin America and in the world. We have made some books. They are free online. You can access to them by the library from the Red Biogas website. And also we have a journal. This journal began 3 years ago. All of them, all the papers are in Spanish, few of them in Portuguese, and in the few coming months, one of the books about tubular digesters will be this one. It's been translated to English, so will be published also in English version. In English, we have this book. It was a product from a CTCN project we have here in Ecuador. So you can look for this book. It's about all the Latin American experience in big programs about biogas, focused on medium and small farmers. You can look for it in the CTCN website, if you look for. And about the journal, we have already done 3 numbers, and now we are collecting new papers for the 4th edition. In these papers, we talk about everything. We have very papers focused on research or sometimes social strategies, experience, technical aspects, biogas use, digestate use, full scale, laboratory scale. We have everything just coming from all around Latin America, also in Spanish and some of them in Portuguese. We realize some webinars, mainly some of them also in Portuguese. And last week, we realized the first workshop about laboratory work with some researchers from Brazil, Colombia, and Spain. We also work with the national biogas networks like Costa Rica, Colombia, and Ecuador, and we support them to realize local workshops to teach how to install digesters, how to design digesters, and how to realize a project about digesters focused on medium and small farmers. We are many people. We are people from all around Latin America, Costa Rica, Uruguay. This is the main board. People who dedicate time to decide what's going on in the network. We have a technical team that is paid by different projects to take the website, the communication, the relation with other organizations. And we have an old board. Is the people who has been for more time in the network, and they are considered to have the history update of the network and to consult this honorary board when it corresponds. We have working groups, many working groups about household scale, bioslurry, large scale, public policy, organic urban waste, laboratory of anaerobic digestion, and other about communication, exchange and fellowships, Red Biogas Journal, Wiki, Biogas. So this is different people working, and all this work is done using just internet. I want to give you now just a few points about the main technology, I think, in Latin America. Of course, in Latin America, we have CSTR biogas plants and lagoon as the rest of the world. But here we have a point that most of the people, as Felipe told, are small and medium farmers. So we have developed our own technology for small and medium farmers. we are talking about low-cost digesters. When we talk about low-cost digesters, we are talking about in the rest of the world about the fixed dam or floating drum digesters. They have no active heating or mixing. They dilute the manure with water, and usually they are buried. But here in Latin America, some numbers about how many fixed dam digesters you can find in different countries. These are old numbers, but they are meaningful. Like China, 40 million units, for example, or Nepal, nearly a third of million units. But what about Latin America? It's very difficult in Latin America to find this kind of digesters of fixed dam. What we have is tubular digesters, low-cost tubular digesters. It was developed in the 80s in Colombia. Also, they have no active heating or mixing, and they need more water, 1 part of manure for 3 parts of water, and they are semi-buried. Because they are semi-buried, we can use solar heating to raise the temperature inside the digester. So we can install this kind of digesters also in the very cold climate in the mountains, like in the Bolivia Altiplano, in the Bolivia highlands. And here, for example, you have a typical cold climate digester. Inside this greenhouse, you have the digester, black color digester, and with insulation in the trench. In most of the countries, you will find companies that offer prefabricated digesters, mainly made using a geomembrane of PVC or geomembrane of polyethylene. And you will find it in any country, or in Chile, Colombia, Mexico, anywhere you go, you will find this kind of digesters produced by companies. And you don't have to think only in small scale. These are 750 cubic meters digesters, for example. It's big. For us, it's big scale in Colombia. Usually, as we are working with a small scale, we use the biogas for cooking, but you can use the biogas for heating the baby pigs. Also, sometimes you can use the biogas to run small engines in the farm. This is good for water pumps or to cutters or small engines. And because this technology has been working very well, it has gone one step beyond. And now you can find this kind of digesters working for wastewater treatment, organic solid waste, urban waste, industrial wastes. You can find them, they put one continuous to the other digester, for example, in these pictures. And just to finish my personal case, now I'm living here. This is the Amazonia in Ecuador. And here we found other problems. Before I was working all the time with manures, but now here the Quechua indigenous people used to not have animals. The problem here is water. They have to take the water from caves, and they have no toilets, no latrines. This is one toilet we found that it goes directly, it's just a hole, it goes directly to a crack in the ground, and when it rains, all the water and the human manure goes to the nearby river. So now we are working with this kind of population, indigenous people, and we work now introducing small biodigesters with small wetlands for the toilets. So one small digester and one small wetland for each family. We have been working in the IKEM University with this kind of digesters. We are treating about the 50% of the wastewater of the own university with these digesters, with a covered wetland. And we are going to transfer this technology to these rural indigenous Quechua communities around the Amazonia. that's an idea of what's going on in Latin America. Of course, we have all the technology that is being used in Europe or in Turkey, as was commented before. But this is the tubular digester is very special for Latin America. Now we know that it's being introduced in India and also in some places in Africa, but this technology was born here in Latin America and is the most famous, the one you will find more easily installed and working in the field. That is what I wanted to share with you. Thank you. Here you have my mail. I open to questions.
Jamie, thank you very much for that. Unfortunately, because the World Biogas Awards are starting exactly now, we're not going to have time to take questions, but if you would like to reach out to Jamie, you can connect with him via the homepage of the event app. If you go into Summit Speakers, you'll find a connection there for Jamie. You can reach out, you can send him emails, and you can send him your questions direct. I wonder if Sambit, I could ask you to come onto the stage and perhaps wrap up this session as Tomoo and David are no longer with us. Are you able to do that, Sambit?
Yes, Gabriel. Thank you so much. Some quick words of remark. I understand we are really running out of time, but I must congratulate World Biogas Association to organize such insightful and very informative webinar on a very useful topic. I could see there were very good demonstration of projects ranging from small to large scale. And I hope like all the participants have got very good insights from them. The only one point which I would like to reflect here from my own experience working in Pacific Island is not to ignore the complete value chain. The reason being is like we can see like in the value chain, there are a lot of criticism and a lot of challenges underlying. And hence, and equally, there are a lot of opportunities to identify the circularity, which makes your technology more sustainable and marketable in developing countries. So with that, I would like to congratulate everyone for such successful presentations and this organization of technology presentation. And thank you so much from CTCN.